New York, right?
Yeah, all the way from New York.
You guys are shooting in New York. That's a nice deal.
It sure is, man. It sure is. You know, it kind of blew my mind when they agreed to that. And after, I honestly, this is not to brag. I have no idea how many movies I've made, but I can tell you that maybe I could count on one hand the times I've actually worked in New York and slept in my own bed. And so it's going to be nice.
Yeah.
Well, besides sleeping in there, what was the appeal
New York?
of the show?
Oh, the show.
I mean, New York is a lovely place.
Oh, no. Whoa. Well, let me just clarify. When I read the show, it wasn't set in New York,
right.
And it's still not set in New York, to tell you the truth. But so that wasn't an issue at all. So probably about, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, I said, I'm feeling like the trend is to great writing in television. And I thought about like all the things that I think about it, talk to my friends about, and you know what I mean? It's, for lack of a better term, it's just the water cooler, you know, it's all these like super cool things, you know, like Homeland, and Breaking Bad, and Closer, you know, all these shows that have become so like important in my entertainment, you know, world, and so I said, you know, maybe it's time for me to kind of throw my hat in the ring. Within 2 weeks, I read 3 of the best scripts I had ever read, pilots. You know, I was like, this is amazing writing. These are super cool characters. If there was another 45 minutes tacked onto this, I would do this movie in a heartbeat. You know, and I thought to myself, well, I definitely don't want to do a network show. You know, I'll do what I really should do is just a premium cable show, you know? And then, you know, we sort of explored that for a while and, you know, kept reading stuff and was working on developing some things. And then down the line, you know, I think a lot of what I was afraid of was doing 24 episodes or 22 episodes. You know, I just kind of felt like that's going to take so long, and I still want to make movies. You know, and I also saw secondhand from Kira's schedule that if I look at how hard she worked, and then thought about the idea of her doing like 6 or 7 more episodes a year, I was like, I don't know, that's really tough. I have so much admiration for people that are able to do that. So I read the script and I went, wow, this is amazing. I mean, they really making this, you know, on Fox? And I said, well, I guess I'm not going to do it because I'm only going to do 15. And, you know, they said, yeah. So it was kind of a no-brainer. I mean, I just love the writing.
So you're obviously playing the hero in the show.
I am.
But do you see your character as like a completely good guy, like only a good person, or does he have a lot of darkness, or
No,
do you see him?
No, I see him as complicated and flawed, and certainly the lines between, you know, being a good guy and not being a good guy will get a little bit blurred. And they're not so much, you sort of get a sense of that in the pilot, but I think that down the line we'll see stuff in the backstory and maybe in the way that he handles things that will be a little bit, you know, a little bit gray. I really wanted to play a hero, you know. I mean, a lot of what I get now in the movie world is bad guys, and I like playing villains too. It's great, you know. I just did this movie this year called R.I.P.D. It was really fun, you know, kind of bad guy, and X-Men, you know, First Class I did a couple of years ago last year, you know, another cool, and I like doing that, but I just felt like moving forward, you know, throughout a series, I don't want to be the serial killer, you know. Meanwhile, James is amazing in that, you know, role. So I felt like I want to find something heroic, but I gotta be heroic in a complex, you know, flawed, damaged sort of way, and boom, there it was. I mean, the first. Have you ever seen? You haven't seen the pilot?
Oh, sorry. I saw that.
Oh, yes, yeah. I mean, the first time you see him, he's kind of a mess, obviously, and that was interesting to me.
Do you see him? I mean, obviously we meet him. He's kind of a disaster. He's got a drinking problem and lots of other problems. Do you see getting back into the job as something that's going to help him clean up, or that's going to further deteriorate his sort of mental state?
I don't think that it's going to happen right away. I don't think that we were just talking about this today. I don't think in episode 2 he's going to be da-da-da,
Got a suit on.
Yeah,
There you go.
right. I think that it's going to be a process. And Williamson said something early to me that it really has resonated to me and really gave me, in a funny kind of way, that sometimes there's like one statement that becomes a launching pad for your understanding of the character. And he said, this is a guy who feels like death surrounds him. That people who get close to him sometimes die. And I think that's what sort of maybe at the essence of what is kind of torturing. So, obviously, stepping back into this case is not going to fix that. I mean, we're off to the races when it comes to dying.
Sorry, I gotta pull him to the next one.
Okay. Can I?
One more.
Okay. Why do you think Ryan is able to read Joe's moves so well?
I think that it's instinct, I think that I'm never going to have the kind of intellect that Joe has. I'm never going to have the kind of charm. I'm never going to be able to work people, to be able to communicate. He's got great communication skills. But I think I've got instinct and street smarts, and I think that's the thing that separates the two of us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.